Pinsky, followed by, is it Joanne Brink of West Henry Clay in the Bay. Ms. Brockman.
Going back to the train issue, I think a couple weeks ago you voted on a bill that authorized spending for the bridge to nowhere in Alaska, which is going to cost about $400 million, and there's roughly 50 people on that island.
Misrepresented in the press by the two lines that the Journal put in. The Congress in 2006 killed the earmark for the bridge to nowhere in Ketchikan, Alaska. And basically what it said was that if the state of Alaska wanted to use their own funds to build that bridge, Congress was not going to stop them based on the principles of federalism and not having the federal government tell the states where they could and where they couldn't spend their money. The motion to recommit that was offered by the minority party basically had Congress sticking its nose into something which 4 or 5 years ago Congress told the states it was up to them to decide whether or not to use their own money to build the bridge. And I don't think I have any more right to tell the state of Alaska where to spend their money than the representative from Alaska has any right to tell the Wisconsin state government where to spend its road and bridge money.
One other quick question. I understand the deficit issues, and one is you can cut spending or increase revenues. Wouldn't it make some sense to let the tax cuts on the upper income earners expire? And that would, I think they said, $700 billion additional revenue.
The answer to that question is no. The last president who increased taxes in the middle of a recession was a man named Hoover, and I don't think we want to repeat that mistake.
Well, I don't think that's really a similar situation.
Well, certainly it is, because no economist, whether it's on the left or on the right, will say that the thing to do in a recession is to take money out of people's pockets and have the government spend it.
Well, yeah, but we're only talking about people that are earning significant incomes, and
excuse me, sir, who invests the money to create jobs? It's not middle-income people, it's people who have significant incomes. And, the answer to the problem is creating jobs in the private sector, not the government spending it on itself.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but we're going to the same tax rate that we had when Clinton was president, so we're not raising it out of to some extravagant number. It's the number that we had, and we had good growth at that time. So I don't think it's unreasonable.
Well, no, the answer to that question is no, because the economy started going into recession in the last year or 15 months of Clinton's administration. Bush reduced tax rates in 2001 and 2003, and until the bubble burst on the housing market, the amount of revenue that was being collected under the lower tax rates was significantly more than was predicted just a few months earlier by the Congressional Budget Office and the Office of Management and Budget. Now, I remember in 04, 05, and 06, there was somewhere between $60 to $80 billion of unexpected revenue that came in between the February estimate and the time the books were closed down at the end of September.
Okay, but then if we stick with those tax rates, the lower tax rates, and you're saying they're creating jobs, those were the tax rates that were in effect when we went into the recession, so they haven't really created the jobs.
The recession, in my opinion, was caused by banks aided and abetted by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, issuing mortgages to people who would not be able to repay the mortgages as was agreed on. So all of a sudden, banks ended up being illiquid, the Fed ended up increasing the reserve requirements, so that meant that the banks were not able to lend as much money out, particularly to small businesses.
I guess we'll have to agree to disagree on that one.
Thank you. Soren Pinsky, Lake Drive.